What's going on, guys? Run it back with another replay for you, and we've got a really interesting matchup to showcase here for you. We've got Lord Chicken Feed, Hooner Futter, and Boss Toss here, fighting it out on some of their main factions. Chicken Feed plays a little bit of everything, and Boss Toss, one of the best Norsca players out here. You don't see a lot of people bringing them terribly often. Definitely one of the more niche factions, a lot more specialists on them, but definitely a very interesting choice bringing the War Mammoth with the War Shrine here. Giver of Glory with that huge physical resist and vigor reduction in an aura around it once it starts getting some kills, charged up in the radius around it. Favor of the Ruminous powers, if you're standing within the 35-meter radius, you can see the two radiuses here. I believe that Giver of Glory is charged within the blue radius, and then its actual effect is the smaller reddish hued circle that you might see around it here that I'm kind of outlining. Just so you get a little idea of it. Something like that's about how big it is, and then it's got the much bigger radius circling all the way around, where it charges its abilities off. But anyways, enough about that unit. Marauder great weapons in the front line, regular Marauders. We've got some Berserkers, including the Brutes of the Hound, who did get a cost reduction and a little bit of extra armor, so a little bit more dangerous now. Maybe a little bit better. Definitely we'll have to see how they can hold up here against the forces of the Dark Elves, who are coming in with a Fire Sorceress, just Burning Head to get rid of the Marauder chaff, and chew through these Berserkers, certainly, potentially. Wolfric the Wanderer is going to be trying to get after her, and Ephemer Balefiend of Fire is going to be doing the same thing in return to the Dark Elves, but Dark Elves have no infantry to speak of. Some Black Ark Corsairs are just about it. 2 units of those guys slowly moving up, and instead, Dark Riders aplenty, as well as some Doomfire Warlocks. They also got some cost reductions. They are looking like they might be a little bit better. They've got pretty good stats and really high phys res, so if you're a faction like Norsca that doesn't have a tremendous amount of passive magical damage on your units, they might be a little bit difficult to deal with. We'll see how they do. Blood Rack Medusa coming up. Looking to box out some of the infantry. Boss Toss maneuvering back a little bit, looking to get a little bit more tactically sound formation going. Pushing up to the number 3 objective with some infantry, but those Dark Rider repeater crossbows with the heavy AP and missile damage just absolutely nailing these great weapons. Unfortunately for these guys, they are the most vulnerable unit out here that they can get their hands on. They're definitely going to take full advantage of the damage they can do to them. Some Skin Wolves coming out from Boss Toss. Boss Toss loves getting aggressive with these Skin Wolves, but does need to be very careful here. The really hard-hitting AP definitely going to be able to obliterate these guys if they are left alone for any period of time. Big shots and volleys coming in here with a Burning Head layered over the top, breaking the leadership of these great weapons in no time flat, pushing them back. Burning Head looking like it might rotate through the Brutes of the Hound, does clip the edge of their unit, dealing a little bit of damage, but they do have the spell resistance, since they do have the Mark of Khorne, mitigating a little bit of that, which is really nice for them. Could be a lot more punishing. They also have that extra bit of armor saving their ass there a little bit. Marauders pushing forward. Gonna get charged down by the Doomfire Warlocks. Really nice micro here from Lord Chicken Feed, rolling over these guys, but Skin Wolves looking to get after them. Doomfire Warlocks with that 92 speed, though, doing a very good job of peeling out. One guy lagging behind just a little bit, but he might be able to pull away from these Skin Wolves here. Skin Wolves can't go too deep here. The repeater crossbows will definitely do some nasty damage to them. And Wolfric out here actually going after the Blood Rack Medusa. Does have good weapon strength and pretty low armor monster here. But she does have bonus versus large, and Wolfric does not have any way to heal himself. He will definitely take a bit of a pounding if he stays in here because of the AP missiles potentially focusing him as well. Cold One Knights of Plenty coming out from Lord Chicken Feed as some of the summons here. playing a very cagey game, holding on to the number 1. Got a bit of a ticket lead, is definitely going to look to trade for a little while here now. Pushing up with the Dark Riders, continuing to fire in and just patiently shoot down as many targets as he can get in his LOS. Marauder great weapons moving forward, but not getting a lot of value for all of the ammo that he's used. So Boss Toss doing a good job of microing around the the very chaffy, cost-efficient infantry targets, using them to go and screen forward even if they don't have the shields, and then pulling them back and trying to dodge as many of the missiles as possible is really nice play. It is a pretty reliable thing to do, honestly. People underestimate the ability to dodge missiles, even with slow infantry. You know, you can put the moves on these missile units, you know. They get a little over-eager with their targeting and think they're lining up the perfect shot. Then you just curve them a little bit. Norscan Ice Wolves and Skin Wolves out here on the number 1 do take this objective, looking to get after the Dark Riders, but Chicken Feed is just pulling back and allowing a triple cap here, which not 100% sure about. Burning Head's going down, getting just a little bit of damage. Not really worth it so far. I think that Chicken Feed would be better served locking a Dark Rider into combat with one of these infantry units, then using the Burning Head, because it's going to be a little bit harder to pull away at that point. And if you do, you at least have the Dark Riders on the unit already to follow up and just continue to get damage. They do pursue well. They've got good speed, they've got decent weapon strength, and against Marauders, they'll be able to put a little bit of a hurt on them as they're trying to run away. Witch Elves coming out, Witch Elves very nice. They do have the poison, they don't rampage enemy targets anymore, but the Witch Brew is a very powerful ability. Gives them 72 melee attack, as well as ridiculous weapon strength. I mean, it gets them up to, I believe, 66 in total. Yeah, 66 weapon strength, so they'll rip apart Marauders and lightly armored infantry, which is pretty much all that Boss Toss has out on the field. Some more infantry falling to the AP missiles here. Marauder great weapons running away. Berserkers trying to retreat. A very tattered Marauder moving forward just to soak up some arrows with their bronze shields, which is a better idea than just taking the damage full on the nose with somebody else. Berserkers and Brutes of the Hound don't really want to be the ones taking all that fire. They're a little bit too expensive to be doing that kind of business, you know. Beasts of Tashanar coming out. Beasts of Tashanar will be really good here. And now that the infantry are kind of getting developed out onto the field, we'll be seeing what Boss Toss is going to be doing. Boss Toss has not really used any of the magic, just charging the reserves this whole time, waiting for Burning Head opportunities. Looking to push here, probably knowing that there's the Witch Elves and some of these other targets just hiding in the woods. And looking for maybe a good opportunity to get some Burning Heads rolling now that there are Black Ark Corsairs, Witch Elves, and some Bleak Swords and the like moving up. Bleak Swords and Witch Elves will be the best targets. You can do a little bit of damage to Black Ark Corsairs with Burning Head, but it doesn't have, I don't think it has any AP on that spell, so armor does mitigate quite a bit of its damage, so you want to get rid of chaff with it, maybe get it on top of the Doomfire Warlocks. You can do good damage against cavalry with Burning Head as well. More fire coming in, and the Norscan Ice Wolves actually do get into a position to intercept the Doomfire Warlocks, who get frostbitten, slowed down horrendously, and countercharged by the Skin Wolves. And the Norscan Ice Wolves doing a lot of damage themselves, pulling down quite a few models, taking a lot of HP off of these guys. Very expensive trade there for the Dark Elves. And the value is very even for how much skirmishing has been done by the Dark Elves. They are falling behind on tickets quite badly as well. Boss Toss has been doing a very good job of moving around the battlefield and getting the Brutes of the Hound in on top of the Witch Elves. They'll both just mulch through one another here, and the War Shrine coming in to assist in addition. Look at the Sea Fang damage rolling through that Witch Elf unit and obliterating them, leaving them absolutely ruined. I do believe they just shattered as well, so No chance of these ladies to rally. They've got 38 models. They could get back in there and get a little bit of damage on the charge otherwise, but no chance for them to get any more favorable trades now. Boss Toss actually evening out the value. Beast of Tashnar trying to get after the Supreme Sorceress, but really good micro getting away now that the Doomfire Warlocks are trying to respond. The War Shrine just hanging out with the great weapons, and the Brutes of the Hound just buffering up that leadership, keeping them, you know, nice and stalwart. Just in case they get charged, they're not going to just break immediately, and the Mammoth with the collision attacks will do pretty decently against these cavalry in the right circumstance. Bit of pressure onto the middle objective. Dark Riders and some Bleak Swords moving up to capture the middle objective. And, man, brutal shots from the Bloodrack Medusa going in here. Getting about 1,000 value up to this point, 111 kills. Proving that even after it did get a little bit of a nerf, still a very powerful hybrid missile monster, I guess. Kind of an artillery piece, but also one that has a little bit of a dual purpose with the AP Halberd. Once it runs out of ammo, it can do decently. And Black Ark Corsair is going to get the better of this fight. They do take a little bit of damage on the charge, but these very tattered great weapons are not going to get a great opportunity to trade with these guys, and they do get crushed quite decisively. The AP missile fire overlapping and helping to finish them off as well certainly is going to assist. Norscan Warhounds, Ice Hounds, all of the mobility in the world available for the Norskins now. Some Ice Trolls coming out too, Marauder Horsemen. And this might be the deciding fight here. Chicken Feed does have the middle objective now, is also starting to flip the number 3, and doing a really good job of cycle charging here. Just hitting with the Dark Riders, pulling back with the Dark Riders, and then hitting with the Doomfire Warlocks who are going to finish off these Marauders, I'm sure. Very nice micro. And Norscan Ice Wolves chewing up these Bleak Swords. Bleak Swords definitely going to get overwhelmed by the Hound play here. Really awesome stuff. But these Norscan Warhounds back here are countercharged very effectively by the Cold One Knights. Decisively crushed. Saving their Dark Rider Repeater Crossbow brethren. Here in the middle, though, there is one Dark Rider Repeater Crossbow getting nailed by the Skin Wolves right now. War Shrine coming in, starting to rack up some kills here. 44 so far, and counting. Running over Bleak Swords and helping out against the Black Ark Corsairs. Stiffening up the resolve of all of these Norscan units in the middle here. Skin Wolves taking pretty catastrophic damage. I believe even from just the Witch Elves. They are very buffed up right now with their Murderous Mastery being popped right now. They've got decent weapon strength and good melee attack. So they're chewing through a lot of these very lightly armored Norskins, but the extra leadership from the War Shrine definitely keeping these guys in here to trade just a little bit better. Boss Toss still with a slight value lead and a huge blob fight here with Beasts of Tashnar, Ice Wolves, a Doomvolt coming in. I believe that's the Bound Doombolt coming in from the Doomfire Warlocks. Getting a little extra damage there on top of all these targets and a decisive rout on the Norscan mobility here. Crushing these guys. And Norscan Ice Trolls not in position to assist. They were killing some Bleak Swords and Dark Riders. It looks like they did very well in that fight there. Maneuvering back to do some more battle with a few infantry targets on top of these Bleak Swords out here. Pushing them back. Definitely going to get the better of that fight under the right circumstances. And the Dark Elves all over the forces of Norsca right now. Dark Riders charging in just wave after wave. Black Ark Corsairs following up. And these guys, these Norskins are very locked in here. They do break the Doomfire Warlocks here. Very nice for them. But a lot of them wavering and on the verge of routing here. Will they be able to hold? If they can hold, they might be able to pull back and get into a much safer position. But they're very, very pinned in here. One good spell cast right now could absolutely obliterate this blob under the right circumstances. But the Supreme Sorceress is being hounded down by Wulfric. Wulfric doing a really good job of keeping her away from this fight, where she could get a good burning head and just roast the Marauder Horseman blob here. Good trade, though, for the Dark Elves. They're doing nicely here, but Chicken Feet is still behind on the value. Just not quite able to find the decisive advantage here. And a Burning Head does come down. It gets some really good damage. Nice cast from the Supreme Sorceress, breaking all of the Norscan units here. They are going to be sent back, but might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Now that they're disengaged, they'll be able to regroup, maybe find their way back into a good combat and get some value with their javelins. Up to this point, they've been fighting in melee, which is really where they struggle, obviously, but being Norskins, they don't mind too much, and they can still do decently for themselves. Cavalry on the charge are still quite efficient, regardless of their actual melee stats. A good Burning Head in response from the Norskins now, roasting out the Black Orc Corsairs and the Dark Riders, pushing those guys back. And while the fight on this number 1 objective has been going pretty decently for the Dark Elves, on the other side of the battlefield, it's been a complete wash, actually. Brutes of the Hound and the Berserkers and these Marauder Great Weapons with the War Mammoth helping them out. War Mammoth with 1,000 value, lots of HP, 10,000 HP left, helping out Wolfric as well. Wolfric with 1,600 value. Just pushing off all of the mobility, all of the infantry, posting up and taking this number 3 objective again. Still with a ticket lead is Boss Toss and a value lead of about 1,000. No healing other than the Norscan Ice Trolls regeneration, which is going to stack up over the course of the game, but probably only like 100 or 200 value being regened up to this point, I think. Nothing too decisive for them up to now. We'll see how that goes over the course of the rest of this game, but man, these Dark Elves losing a lot of units now. Dark Riders being taken out, driven off the field. Doomfire Warlocks not really paying for themselves, unfortunately, but these Dark Riders doing quite nicely. Bloodrack Medusa with 247 kills, 1,700 value. And man, Boss Toss with these Norscan Ice Trolls doing nicely as well. Barely holding on with their leadership. Just absolutely tanking it right now. Ripping apart the Bleak Swords. Helping to clear out this objective a little bit. Norscan Ice Wolves moving in to assist these guys potentially. And the Ice Trolls looking to get after yet another Bleak Sword. Perfect target for them to fight. No anti-large attacks to get in on their low melee defense, and they do have a Chevron, so they're a little bit better, and they're just going to crush through the poor armor of these guys. They've got pretty good melee attack themselves, definitely hitting on the melee defense of the Bleak Swords, and definitely going to be able to get rid of them. Really nice for the Norskins, and a big Burning Head on the Doomfire Warlocks here, obliterating those guys. Fimir Balefiend with 2,000 value, really good targeting from Boss Toss. You know, it is really nice to be able to have the mobility, but this mobility is very lightly armored. People underestimate how strong Burning Head is against cavalry. I do think it wasn't a very good spell against cavalry in Warhammer 2, and some people, I think, might not be, might have some preconceptions in their head and not realize just how brutally efficient it is. The Bloodrack Medusa and the Fimir Balefiend getting into combat here with one another. This wizened river monster, I guess, or swamp monster, I guess, is where the Fimir come from. Fighting it out with this uncomfortably sexy snake, I would say. I don't want to talk about it, guys. Don't look at me. You're making it weird. I'm just enjoying the game for what it is. We do have a Norscan Warhound. They're doing their best, but they don't want to take the fight against the Doomfire Warlocks. Marauder Great Weapons, they're pushing up. They want to get after the Doomfire Warlocks themselves just to stop these guys up and do a little bit of damage to them. Doomfire Warlocks don't do as well against infantry in general. They don't have a ton of HP. They're much better against mobility, especially at Hounds, but now that they've been countercharged by the Norscan Warhounds, much better fight for them, but they do get some help from some Dark Riders who are going to help kill some of these Hounds. And the Doomfire Warlocks could just stand here and fight and kill these guys and then worry about maneuvering away. But maybe just wanting to preserve some HP on these guys. Man, look at this War Shrine, dude. Just continuing to hold this objective. There's 3 Marauder Berserkers in this unit left. And they're still holding in here with 24 leadership because of the Encourage effect, because of the Favor of the Ruinous Powers. charging, giving them a little bit extra, and that is going to be game. The War Shrine coming in clutch and helping hold that flank objective. Not dedicating enough missiles to killing that big monster, I don't think, from the Dark Elves. Definitely would have been a really good target for the Dark Rider repeater crossbows. I know they're pretty short range, but I think with just a little more patience from Chicken Feed, it would have been a really good idea to get after that guy in the mid-game there. Dark Elves and Chicken Feed played a really cagey game. There were definitely some moments where I think they could have taken that match, but didn't have a great answer for the War Mammoth and the Fimir with much better burning head uses. Those early burning heads missing as much as they did from the Supreme Sorceress, just not paying off. It's much better in domination mode to get more high value uses out of your magic than to just blow your load in the early game. You really want to hang on to your magic into the late game because it can be a big force multiplier once the armies are a little bit more tattered. I really do think that people could stand to play a little bit more patiently with their mages on the whole. Good value on Wulfric. Wulfric doing what he does best, just using Seafang, going around supporting units, pushing back lords and casters, and just making it very difficult for them to get their most efficient value. And Corsair's doing decently. We've got some good value on some of these Dark Riders. Doomfire Warlocks were definitely a bit of a letdown here. I don't think that they're good enough in this matchup. They do have the 40% Fizz Res, but those Skin Wolves just have such good anti-large attacks that I think they mitigate most of that physical resistance and can just chew through them. They're much cheaper, too, the Skin Wolves. I believe they're, how much? They're 150 gold cheaper now. They're 950 to 1100. So always a fight that you would want to take against these guys, and they did a little bit better. They still didn't do amazingly, though. Frost Trolls, though, did really well. 1,000 value paying for themselves, and these Ice Wolves are basically a cheaper Fleshhound type unit. 1,200 on this one. Beast of Tashnar doing nicely. Just really consistent value across the board with big performances from their large targets. Definitely being enough for the Norscans to walk away with a big dub here. And a big dub with a big monster is always very cool to see. So Boss Toss definitely flexing a little bit with that. Anyways, without further ado, folks, that's going to be it for me. I hope y'all have enjoyed this match. And I will see y'all next time. GG's. Peace. Take care.